of the challenges for playing this all-region audition music for bass clarinet is being able to play smooth register changes, both directions, both up and down, and just playing the upper register of the bass clarinet. The bass clarinet makes a beautiful sound, but it's stuffy in the upper register, and some instruments are stuffier than others. And we've got to figure out how to be able to play that register of the instrument in an efficient and comfortable way. So one of the things that I think is probably the best for you to think about is that it doesn't take more air or faster air than the lower register. In fact, if you just play it like you're playing the low register of the instrument and just casually add the register key, but don't force anything, and in fact, feel like you're relaxing into the upper register, I think you might have a pretty good result. So let's just play a couple ascending twelfths and see what that feels like. How about let's start down with low A. Low register A, and when we add the register key, we'll end up on top space E. Maybe you want to think about playing a good healthy forte in the low register and then decrescendo to mezzo piano in the upper register. That can help you relax. Let's work our way down the horn a little bit. Let's go down to low G. So add a finger, let's play a low G and then add the 12th. It's going to start feeling even stuffier. Okay, let's go further, and I'm going to use notes that are in the D major scale for you. Concert C, your D major, because we're going to use a D major scale in just a moment. So on down to low F sharp. So bottom shelf, top pinky key there. Okay, one more, low E. Add the register key. Now let's practice playing a 12th up and then step down to A natural, to throat A. So we're going to practice the register change coming down and then going back up again. The throat A is probably going to feel a lot more free and easy to play compared to the B natural one step away from it. But we just have to train our bodies what that's going to feel like. So, low E, add the register key for the B natural, step down to A, back up. I would recommend you keep all of your right fingers on the horn right now. Keep them down. Let's not make our work harder than it needs to be. Okay, another part of that register change right there is your left index finger. You need to keep your left index finger really efficient here with the horn. You don't want to move the finger more than it needs to. So you should be trying to get the A lever with the side of your index finger right around the fingernail area. There's a rocking motion right there. We don't want to go far. We don't want to go quite a ways up the A lever. We want to stay really low on the key. And it's a good habit to try to keep your fingernail in line with the A lever all of the time. Sometimes I'll see players where their finger starts traveling that way the more that they use it. So I'm trying to stay really close right there. And maybe just the idea of cradling the G sharp key, the A flat G sharp throat key, keeping contact with that as well. So our finger comes up and curls around right there. That's a good habit to be in. And that motion usually works pretty well. Okay, let's do that one more time. Low E, B in the upper register, step down to A, back up. Okay, now we're going to get closer to playing a D major scale, adding one note at a time. So let's begin on low F sharp. F sharp, 12th up to C sharp, come down to B, come down to throat A, back up. One more. Let's go from low G. Play the register up to the 12th to a D, step down, C sharp, B, A, back up again. Okay, now we're going to play our 12th up to D, and then we're going to come all the way down the D major scale. D, C sharp, B natural, throat A, G, F sharp, E, D. All the way down. Again, I'm slurring, roughly slurring quarter notes to half notes, depending on how fast you think we're going. Okay, we played the scale descending on purpose because it's usually easier to deal with register changes on the way down. We've played our stuffy B, and then we step down to A, and that's a nice easy register change, and then it's smooth sailing from there. Now let's go both directions. We're starting on D, and then we're heading up one octave to upper register D and back down again, like you see on your scale pages. Usually your scale rhythms are da, 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 da. We're not going to do it that way. We'll play roughly equal notes, quarter notes. And we're doing it slurred. Of course, you're going to want to play the rhythms that you're required to play on your scale pages, but I always recommend starting with slur, because that way you're checking with your air. You're getting yourself acclimated for the resistance in your instrument when you play register changes. You're also making sure that your fingers are clean and precise before your tongue gets in there and maybe causes some coordination problems along the way. Slurring is always a great way to start when you're dealing with articulation. Now, as I just mentioned, when you're dealing with articulation, air is the most important thing. So when we're looking at the articulation study, for example, we need to do some things with this that are slurred and untongued so that we can make sure that everything is in place before we work on the articulation. We have in this particular study, we have staccato, and we also have some different combinations of slurring and staccato notes. So let's work towards that. First thing I want to do, and I think I'd like to focus on the last line first measure, where we have a scale-like passage of slur 2, tongue 2s, and I'll walk you through the process that I might use. First thing, I'm going to slur it. Okay, I'm making sure my air knows what it's doing, I'm making sure my fingers are clean, and I'm making sure that the notes respond really well. Now, the next step, I might want to go to a legato style. Legato style means very clean, very little separation. For me, with the instrument, that means that I am very, very lightly touching the reed and then releasing the reed. I'm thinking about a clean release. I don't want to hit the reed. I don't want to move in a horizontal fashion. I want it to be a slight vertical motion. If you say nee, 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 nee on any pitch, nee, 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 it doesn't matter. Pitch doesn't matter. The motion of your tongue matters. And notice when you say nee, 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 your tongue goes quite high in your mouth and just works at the tip. And the tip of your tongue goes up to the roof of your mouth and releases with every N. Ni, 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 ni. Your tongue is moving very little. Now, while you're playing the clarinet, your tongue might not be quite that high, but you need to imitate the same motion of a very front part of your tongue moving in that same way. Ni, ni, ni. And notice the releasing action. You're not making the N by moving your tongue to the roof of your mouth. You're making it by releasing the roof of your mouth. The going up part kind of takes care of itself. If you focus on the releasing part, that might get you the best legato style. When you have the mouthpiece in your mouth, the reed just gets in the way, and you can't make it all the way to the roof of your mouth. You just make it to the reed. That's what you want to do. So try that on one note. Doesn't matter a note. I'll play G in the open G. I'm using that knee motion. Knee, knee, knee. Now I'm going to use that legato style with the notes on that first measure of the last line. I played a legato style, and then I compared it with slurred. And then I went back and played legato again. And just to kind of compare, am I using my air the same way? And am I getting as little separation as possible between notes when I do legato tonguing style? Okay, what does staccato mean? The textbook definition of staccato is short and separated, perhaps, or even half value. What does that mean for us when we're playing the instrument? Well, that means that we are going to need to create space between notes, and one of the main ways that we do that is by returning our tongue to the reed very quickly and staying there for a little bit longer when we consider legato articulation. So let me repeat that. Staccato means that we are going to spend longer on the reed with our tongue in between notes. So why don't you try, let's go back to open G, and let's play a rhythm of eighth note, eighth rest, repeating that. And I'm going to continue to blow my air the entire time. I am going to make the eighth rest by returning my tongue to the reed and staying there for the length of the eighth rest. So without the instrument, if I just use air and tongue, I might verify that I am keeping my air moving by poking myself in the stomach and feeling that those muscles that I use to manage my air are engaged and just staying the same. I don't want to feel down here, I don't want to feel individual bumps of air. I want to feel one thing. I want to feel outward and downward musculature, like when I'm playing a long slurred passage. But I will be parceling the air up here with my tongue. And the silence you're hearing is because my tongue has snapped back to the roof of my mouth, kind of like the reed. Let's use this last measure and play it staccato. Every note staccato. Let's ignore the slurs on there and let's play every note staccato. How is that going to feel in my mouth? It feels the same way. If I compare it to legato, I can notice that my tongue doesn't spend the amount of time on the reed. In fact, I touch and release in a pretty quick motion. staccato. Now, the final challenge here is that we have the articulation pattern of slur 2 and tongue 2. So, how are we going to figure that out? Well, number one, we need to learn how to stop the reed's vibration after the second note, or the note that we slur into. In this case, it's F sharp, and on beat 2, D. Those two notes, we need to stop the reed's vibration. One way that we can figure out how that works is by making some funny syllabic words out of it. So repeat after me. Da what dut dut. Da what dut dut. Now, what that represents, the T endings of what and dut mean that those are notes that we are stopping the reed's vibration at the end of it. When you say what, when you get the T sound, your tongue snaps back to the roof of your mouth. When you're saying da what dut dut, that doesn't mean that you're going to do exactly that while you have the instrument in your mouth, because it doesn't work so well, because you have to maintain an embouchure that's firm against your teeth, and you have to have your tongue moving a certain way with the reed that is not quite as complicated as speaking. But it gives us an idea of what's happening. Da what dut dut. The next step we can do is we can do that with just the air and tongue sound. So da what dut dut, what if we did it with only air? We have to kind of pucker. We can't use a full clarinet embouchure because it just doesn't work so well. If we pucker forward almost like we're trying to play flute just really badly. Now, let's try playing this measure with that idea of stopping the vibration of the second note of each group. Now maybe you can hear what it is that I'm doing to achieve that separation between the second and the third note. I'm not stopping my air, I'm only returning to the reed to stop the reed's vibration. I hope these tips will help you as you prepare your all-region music this year. For more bass clarinet information and suggestions, you might want to check out my video on bass clarinet fundamentals. Thanks for watching.